Mr. Speaker.
Alistair Scott.
Talafalava, Mr. Speaker. Over the last week or so, Mr. Speaker, the opposition have criticised us for our projected surplus forecasts. They say they're not big enough. Well, the question is, what would they do different? We know that the surplus comes from two parts, the income side and the expenditure side. And we know that the revenue side has taken a hit because of lower dairy payouts, the lower interest rate environment that we find ourselves in, Mr. Speaker. All these things affect the revenue side and are out of our control. So to increase or make our surplus larger, we have to look at the cost side, the expense side. We have to spend less. So the question is to the opposition, what would they have done? What would they have cut to get a larger surplus today, tomorrow and in the future?
They wouldn't have given the beneficiaries that increase.
Would they have cancelled the free GP visits for under 13-year-olds? I don't think so. I don't think they could. Would they have cancelled the increase in paid parental leave that we've put in place? Would they have cancelled the $11 million of funding available for Kiwi breeding program, Minister? Would they have cut the funding for the carry dieback? Would they have reduced expenditure in health and seen waiting lists rise? Would have seen cancer treatment patients go back to Australia? Queues for elective surgery, because these are the consequences of cutting expenditure, which is the only thing you can do if you want to increase your surpluses. Would they have cut the rheumatic fever investment that this government has made? Would they have taken away the $359 million that we're investing in school teachers to encourage and incentivise teachers to do better for our kids? Maybe they would claw back the $790 million that we've just announced for the most needy, that is the children in beneficiary households. Because these are the sort of things that one has to do if you want to, if the surplus is the only thing that you're concerned about. But we're not, because we know that it is much more important to continue the spending and the investment in those things that I've just mentioned. But instead, their ideas are, you know where they are going to get the money from? They're going to go for the superannuitants.
Yes, they are. Means testing.
They're going for the superannuitants, Mr. Speaker. They've said that they would raise, well, there's two or three things that they could do, Mr. Speaker. They could raise the age of entitlement, which we have said we would not do.
Maybe they said the elderly is surplus.
Maybe they could means test the super, which we have said we would not do. Or maybe they can simply reduce the amount, which we have said we would not do. Mr. Speaker, this budget focuses on those that are in need the most, the children of beneficiary families. This budget is a good budget, Mr. Speaker. This budget is fiscally responsible, Mr. Speaker. This budget has cut the Kickstart program, Mr. Speaker, which is a program which is not about focusing on the most needy. We know that $1,000 per person was only going to the middle and higher income families. It was not targeted to the beneficiaries. It was not targeted to the lower families. This budget, which is why we are cutting that back, it's 2.5 million people involved in that program, Mr. Speaker. It is working, and I support this budget. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well said, Mr. Speaker.